Darkest Hour is directed by Joe Wright and stars Gary Oldman, who plays Winston Churchill. This movie basically follows the events of when Winston Churchill came into office as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, as well as his influence on the evacuation of Dunkirk during World War II. Throughout the last few months, whenever I thought about Darkest Hour, the only words that came to my mind were Oscar buzz, and that's all due to Gary Oldman in this movie playing Winston Churchill. For some reason, the Academy just loves war movies, not just the war movies that take place on the battlefield, but also the war movies that show you what happened behind the scenes. And that's pretty much what Darkest Hour is. It shows you everything that happened behind the scenes with Winston Churchill and the government for the United Kingdom. So let's start off by saying Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill is absolutely amazing in this movie. As I predicted back in August, I said Gary Oldman will in fact win Best Actor at this year's Oscars, and I still stand to that. I do believe he is that good in this movie and deserves to win Best Actor. His performance in this movie reminds me exactly of Daniel Day-Lewis's in the movie There Will Be Blood. Very similar because they are the ones that keep you invested in the movie. He gives a very intense performance here, and also there are a plethora of great speeches splattered throughout this movie. Gary Oldman absolutely kills it as Winston Churchill in this film. When I see Gary Oldman as Winston Churchill in the screen for Darkest Hour, I do not see a glimpse of Gary Oldman. The makeup is that good, his performance is that phenomenal, and all you see here is just Winston Churchill. This is practically one of those movies that gives you a history lesson. It filled in the gaps for what I did not know learning in school back in the day, and that's what I liked about this movie. It was interesting to see what I didn't know already about World War II and how the United Kingdom was involved with Winston Churchill and all that stuff. It reminded me of reading a history book and one of those times when an older person would say, "You might learn something." Well, that's exactly what this movie is, because I definitely learned a thing or two. The main conflict we see in Darkest Hour is how half of the people in the government want to come to peace terms with Hitler and Germany. They ultimately want to surrender because they want to give up. They don't want to fight anymore. But the other half of the people, they want to keep fighting and go against Hitler. So you have Gary Oldman playing Winston Churchill in this movie, and he's very conflicted on what he wants to do. And if you're a history buff, you're going to love this movie so much. This is a movie that was made for people who just love history. I was impressed with the direction for this movie. Joe Wright did a phenomenal job in terms of being the director for this movie, coming from that film Pan, which I know was really bad. So I'm happy he was able to come up with a really good movie here. This is one of the best constructed movies I've seen all year. Everything flowed very well together, and also it's a good looking movie. The cinematography at times was breathtaking to me. Now, where Darkest Hour falters is that if you're not much of a history buff like myself, you're not going to be into this movie as much as those who love history. There is an overdose of dialogue in Darkest Hour, so at times I was a little bit bored and was waiting to just get out of the theater. This is not a film for everyone. If you love history, you are going to absolutely love the heck out of this movie. But if you don't like history as much like me, well, this is not really the type of movie you would enjoy. But besides that, I did find Darkest Hour to be a very interesting movie, with Gary Oldman giving one of the best performances all year. Even with everything not totally working for me in this movie, it was a very well-made movie. I'm going to give Darkest Hour a 78%. It's not a movie for everyone. Critics have been raving about it, at least for the most part, and history buffs will absolutely love this movie. But for me personally, as someone who does not like history as much as others, they're not going to have as much fun with this movie as others would. So the final countdown to 2017 is almost here. I do plan on seeing a couple more movies before the year comes to an end. And then finally, I will have my top 10 movies of the year video coming out for you guys. If you are new to my channel, click that subscribe button and follow me on Twitter at SvenSulley. Follow me on Snapchat at SvenMovies. Thank you all so much for watching this video, and I hope you all have a fantastic day.